Thank you, Chairman Molinar, and thank you to our witnesses for joining us today on this important discussion. But before I ask questions, I would like to submit for the record a statement from Alliance for Automotive Innovation that expresses deep apprehension in the state-subsidized, export-oriented model of Chinese automakers and their threat to American manufacturing.
Without objection, it will be added to the hearing record.
Thank you. And secondly, I would like to also submit for the record a recent Goldman Sachs report showing how rising Chinese high-tech exports now coincide with slowing growth in importing countries as manufacturing losses outweigh import gains. It projects China growing about 0.6 percentage points faster annually, but at the expense of a 0.1 percentage point annual decrease for the rest of the world.
Without objection.
Thank you very much. So Chinese firms have a history of employing backdoor tactics to evade sanctions and gain access to U.S. markets. Examples include investing billions into Mexico's auto sector and acquiring foreign auto companies such as Volvo in 2010. Ms. Dezenski, how serious is the threat posed by Chinese firms using automotive plants in Mexico to qualify for tariff-free treatment and enter the U.S. market indirectly?
Thank you for the question. I would point to two risks. One is, yes, being able to use the mechanisms of the USMCA in a way that wasn't intended to kind of subvert what content requirements are required for North American, to meet the North American threshold, but being able to move around that because of local production in places like Mexico. So that's one thing we have to look at. But the second threat is actually to Mexico directly, and maybe more existential for them in the short term, which is the influx of Chinese vehicles is actually hollowing out the domestic manufacturing capability in Mexico. They're selling so many of these vehicles that it impacts their ability to serve their own market, in addition to the effects for North America.
So do you see any steps that Congress can take during the upcoming USMCA joint review to strengthen the rules of origin and prevent Chinese content from being laundered into North American vehicles?
Yes, I mean, one thing that we have to look at and really encourage our Mexican partners to do as well is look at the corporate ownership structures behind the manufacturing that is taking place. I've looked at some of the FDI numbers for Chinese investment in Mexico. The numbers are low, but what's happening on the ground is a different story. And it really makes me question, where's the capital coming from China? In what form? What kind of assembly is taking place? There's importation of assembled vehicles, but then there's also assembly taking place in Mexico and parts and products. So I think we have to work with the Mexicans to get to the bottom of that and root out where the money is coming from, what the corporate structures are, and what the impact is.
Great, thank you. Substandard or counterfeit electronic parts in U.S. auto and defense systems pose a serious threat to our economic and national security. That's why we have regulations like Defense Federal Acquisition Regulation Supplement, or DFARS, that require contractors to meet strict standards to ensure the authenticity and quality of parts. Mr. Ludwig, what threats do substandard, cloned, or even intentionally malignant parts pose to non-military infrastructure?
I think the threats are quite real. Again, what I would emphasize is that American businesses and CEOs, they will be very rational actors and in search of lowering the costs of their products. And so what this means in practice is that there is always sort of the seeking of the lowest cost component. And I do think that many companies may not be doing proper diligence on the origin of those components, but rather purchasing those things because they are available in the American market. And so I think this points towards strengthening the restrictions in terms of trade inspections.
Do you see any role that Congress can do to address those threats?
As an engineer, honestly, policy is not my background or expertise, but I'm happy to get back to you with recommendations.
Thank you. With that, I Yield back.